Hello everyone, welcome to Gary Mac Studio. Today I'm going to paint a picture of a place I used to go a whole lot years ago over in East Texas at a lake called Lake of the Pines. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law lived there. They had a lake house there, and I used to go over there and stay with them quite a bit. And me and my father-in-law would get in the boat, and we'd go unload our boat below the dam at the Lake of the Pines, and we would just go down that big Cypress bayou, the river that runs into that lake, and then empties out, and then it goes on over toward Jefferson. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful place. That river would spread out through these cypress groves, and those cypress knees would be sticking up out of the water all around that, and the water wasn't real deep. It was around 6 foot deep most of the time, on average. And at flood stage it would get a little more, and then at dry times of the year it would get a little less, but most of the time it's right around six foot deep. And used to fish around those cypress knees in the bottom of these cypress trees, and because they got all kinds of these little nooks and crannies around the base of them, and we just caught tons and tons of bass and crappie, and it was just so beautiful down in there, and so quiet and so serene. There's lots of birds down in there that would be fishing just like we were. And so y'all just hang in here and watch. And these are acrylics, and it's on a 26 inch. Hold on just a second. I think it's 26 inch. Yeah, this is on a 26 inch by 14 inch. It's on denim. I like to paint these acrylics on denim, and I will put a couple of coats of gesso on there, and then I'll take just a regular old house paint, a white sealer, and put on top of that. And these acrylics really apply really well to that, and adhere great, and it's smooth, and the texture of it is just perfect for me applying these acrylics. And on my acrylic paints, they're nothing fancy or special or expensive. They're just I just get them at Hobby Lobby. And these are Liquitex Basics, most of it. And I do have some expensive paints, those Golden brand, and they are a lot more expensive, and I really can't tell that much difference in them. The Golden is a little bit creamier, and the pigments are maybe a little bit heavier. I don't know. As I say, I really can't tell that much difference. It's not worth the extra cost to me, because they're almost twice as much as these Liquitex Basics. So what you're seeing here is I'm just getting in some. Well, I'm trying to get a composition. I didn't do a drawing or study for a composition. I usually 90% of the time I will just start painting on the canvas, And then I will change the composition several times, and I want to change it from what I started out with right here. I was going to have a road that would go down to the lake, and as I went, I changed my mind because I remember what it looked like out in a boat going down that river. And actually, this was what I started out was for a boat ramp where we unloaded the boat to get on the river, and but I changed that as I went along. So this underpainting that you see right now, that's all going to completely change. So as you see, I just change it as I go, and that's just common with me, and that's the way I normally always paint. It just put the brush on the canvas and go for it. That's just the way I am. I used to spend hours making little drawings, little 8 by 10 drawings, or even a 4 by 6 drawing, and I would make several of those and spend hours just doing a composition. But then I found out that instead of spending all those hours doing that, I can do it on the canvas in half the time, because I can get a visual of what it's actually going to look like. And I'm not against making those little drawings. That works. It just I've discovered that for me that it works better just to do these drawings right on the canvas with a brush as I go. And you'll see here in just a second where I just erased most of that and jumped right into a composition that I wanted to actually wind up with. And okay, there it is. So on the lake, it has this green algae that grows, and it floats on the top of on the top of the lake. And this was very difficult, and I still haven't got it down like I want to, but you can get the idea of where I was going with this just by watching. But it's very difficult to get that to look like that stuff is floating on top of the water. And I tried several different methods, and I still haven't got it. Even at the end of this video, I still haven't got it like I want to, so I'm just going to let it set for a few days, and then I will go back to it. I'll study it, and in fact, I won't even look at it for another week or so, and then I will go back and look at it, and I will revisit it and try a different technique. But it turned out okay, but not great. But anyway, you can get the idea of what I've got going here. These cypress trees, they've got these big old huge stumps down at the bottom of it, and then they've got these roots that come up out of the water, and the reason they do that is so that the tree won't drown. And any tree, I don't care what it is, if you cover up the roots of that thing where it cannot get air, they will die. You can take the oldest oak tree in the world, and if you pile up dirt around the bottom of it, a couple of years it'll be dead. So these cypress trees, they've adapted to this water, and they call them cypress knees, and these roots actually come up out of the water in kind of a cone shape, and that's how the roots get the oxygen to the tree. And they're just it's just a beautiful scene up in that swampy area. And I had harvested some of those cypress knees before on my father-in-law's place, and I had taken and did wood carvings out of them, and they make just beautiful wood carvings, and the wood on the grain in it is real pure and white, and it just makes great carving. And in these cypress trees, they would be between the trees. They would be these huge spider web that would be draped between those trees. And when I say huge, I'm talking about 10 to 15 to 20 foot across and tall. And then right in the middle of it would be this big old spider. I don't know what kind there was, but those things were huge. So we kind of had to watch it when we go tootling down through there in the boat, because I don't like spiders on me. So right here, I'm trying to get that water to look like that algae floating on top of it. And over there in East Texas, they call it glop. And that algae just floats around on top of that, and it makes for good fishing. We'd take a lure and throw it on top of that stuff, and just drag it across, and boy, those bass would come up and grab it right up from the bottom of that. They'd come up through that glop and grab your lure. And it was just a beautiful and fun place to fish. And but I don't go there and do that anymore. I'm too old, and it's too dangerous for me to get out in a boat anymore, because it's kind of hard for me to keep my balance when my reaction is just not what it was when I was a young man. But and that's hard to get used to, because my heart's desire is to go and do it again, but I just better not. Last time I did, I fell and paid the price. And as most of you've heard who's watching me, I fell and severed the tendons in my right rotator cuff, and I've lost the strength in my right shoulder. So when I pain, I have to support my right hand with my left hand, because I just don't have the strength to hold it up for any period of time. And I used to fish in that Lake of the Pines a lot. And there's some really big, huge catfish that come out of that lake, and I've caught some big ones in there. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful lake, just a fun place. And then not far from there is a lake I used to go to. It's called Caddo. It's on that same river, and it's a natural lake. It don't have a dam. And it's at the Caddo State Park. And one time I went over there with my daughter, son-in-law, and my mother-in-law, and father-in-law, and my wife. We went over there and was going to hire one of those airboats and take an airboat tour around that lake. And you can look it up online. It's Lake Caddo, and look at some of the photographs and stuff of that lake. It's just a gorgeous lake. And these cypress trees are just everywhere, and these lily pads. These lilies on that thing, those lilies those leaves on those things would be 2 or 3 feet across. They were just huge. And we'd take a lure and just toss on top of those lily pads and just ease it off and let it drop off the edge. And boy, 9 times out of 10, there'd be a bass under there that grabbed that thing. It's just a great place to go fishing. Anyway, we hired this boat to go on a tour around the lake, this airboat. And it's got this big airplane propeller on the back of them. Y'all have seen them. So when we got there, it was parked up on this grassy knoll. It was just up on the grass. And the bottom of those things are covered with Teflon to make them real slick. And then that Teflon on the bottom of them things was golly about a half-inch thicker. And they did that so they could go over stumps and logs and whatever that might be out in the water without harming the boat, and then they just slide up over it. And they could just pull that thing right up on the grass, and they didn't need a trailer to load and unload. They just run it right up on the grass, and when they get ready to go, they just crank it up and take off. Well, my wife and my mother-in-law, they didn't want to go on the boat, so it was just me and my son-in-law and my father-in-law and my daughter. We got in the boat, and my mother-in-law and my wife, they had this big old Lincoln Continental, and they were sitting there waiting for us to take off, and they had their windows down and stuff. And boy, this guy, he got us all ready, and he gunned that thing to run it off off of that grass and onto the lake. And when he did, that grass, I'm not kidding you, it was like a sandstorm, man, and that grass come off the back of that thing and went right in the windows of their car where my wife and my mother were sitting. And we didn't know it until we got back. We were probably gone about 45 minutes or an hour, and then doing a tour around that lake. When we got back, well, they were sitting in there in that Lincoln. I walked up to them and said, "What in the world?" And you should have seen it. The whole inside of that car was just full of grass. The dash, the seats, and they had this grass in their hair. They were just covered in this grass. And that was hilarious. That was so funny. You should have seen them. That was one of the most comical things I'd seen in a long time. And that was just a beautiful, beautiful time in my life, and had so much fun over there. We'd go over there at least 2 weekends out of the month, and we'd go over there on a Friday night and spend the Friday night and go fishing Saturday and Sunday morning, and then we'd come back home, and it's about a 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive over there to their house. We live in Fort Worth, and it's over by Longview, in a little town called Ore City, over by a steel mill over there in East Texas. And so right here, I'm trying to get that algae. I'm trying to get it to look like it's floating on top of that water, and it was just. I was really struggling with this, and I'm still not satisfied with the way it looks. It looks better, but it's still not. It's still not where I want it to be. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna hang it up for a few days, and not look at it, and then in a few days I'll go back and look at it, and most of the time I'll hold it up in front of a mirror, and if you hold your painting up in front of a mirror, it gives a whole different perspective of what it looks like, and you can see a lot of mistakes when you do that you won't see when you're painting that thing. And I think because you get, I think when you're painting, you get complacent on where you're at with it and what you're seeing. But when you hold it up in front of a mirror, and it does give a whole different perspective of what these things look like. So I'm just trying to get some shadows down and reflections down in this water. And as you can see, I'm struggling with this. And I usually don't struggle this hard with water. Usually my water comes pretty easy, but this one was a little bit different. This one was a little bit difficult because it's just not. It's just something different. I never painted anything like this before. With that green moss on top of the water, just everything was different. So I'm getting some reflections in with these trees, and trying to get some highlights from the reflections of the sky in. And then here in a few minutes, I will start adding in some of those cypress stumps. And then right here, I'm trying to set these the bottom of these cypress, set them down in the water, and get a water line on the bottom of them, and those the bottom of those trees are just so erratic. They're just a weird shape, beautiful shape, and it's just an enchanting. It was just an enchanting place to visit, and it just looks unreal, like nothing that you normally see. Especially out in the western part of Texas, where it's just mostly desert and dry, and even around the Fort Worth and Dallas area, you don't see there's some cypress around, but not swampy cypress like this. There's a lot of cypress in people's yards and around the lakes, but they're not. They don't have the nature of these in these swampy areas like this, where where those cypress knees are poking up everywhere, and it just it's kind of an eerie looking place when you're out there all alone, and it's so quiet and just a different environment. So anyway, I'm not going to talk much anymore. I'm just going to sit here and kind of explain what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this to look like water with some glop on top of it. And I struggle with it, and I messed with it, and I messed with it, and I paint over and do again, and I've edited out some of the stuff I've done, and right now I probably got about 2 hours in the total in the painting, and I'll probably have about another 30-45 minutes when I come back to revisit this thing. So it's looking a little more like water all the time. The more I mess with it, the more it seems to kind of come together. But I'm still not happy with where I'm at on it. And hey guys, those of you who's been following me know, but maybe some of you guys that are new don't know, about every 6 weeks or so, I will give away a painting of your choice. You have a photograph of a landscape that you would like for me to paint. Let me know, and in the way I pick whoever I give one away to is the one who watches my program and comments and replies to me the most. And in fact, I shipped one out today to a lady named CJ, and she wanted a picture of a place that I visited a few years ago over in Washington, a place called Ruby Beach. So I painted her a picture. And then the first one I did was a lady, her name was Susan, and she wanted a seascape. And she told me just to pick one of my choice. So I did one of a seascape from a little town called Astoria, where the wife and I we pulled the RV up, and we stayed there for a few days, just looking around, visiting. And I took some photographs, and I painted her. She wanted a seascape, but she wanted seagulls. So any of you guys who haven't seen the video, it turned out really nice. It turned out to be a really pretty painting of the seagulls and setting up on these rocks, and the sunset and the ocean. It turned out to be a really pretty painting. And these paintings, these giveaways, I sell paintings. And the ones that I do sell, I get a premium for my work. And I have given away, and I've been painting. I'm 77 years old, and I've been painting for over 50 years, 52 years to be exact. And I have given away literally hundreds of paintings in my lifetime to people who like. And I've sold a lot of paintings, and my work is getting pretty well known in the art world. And this painting here, it's I don't know, we'll see how this one goes. Some of my paintings aren't so good, and then some of them are really good. Or to me they are. And according to, I sold some here a while back. I sold a couple at a premium price of a horse and rider and their dog. And it's just, I'm not so into making money at it as I am the enjoyment of doing it. As I've stated before, I'm a terrible entrepreneur. I'm not, because what it does is, trying to spend all that time trying to sell a painting, it takes away from what I'm actually doing right here, what I love to do. I don't want to go out and spend all my time trying to sell a painting. I'd rather spend my time doing what you guys are watching me do right here. And if I could find someone that would take my artwork and go out and push it and sell it, and I've had my art in some of the top galleries in the Dallas and Fort Worth area, and I've sold paintings through their gallery, but they don't they really don't push it like I would want it pushed. And not only that, but they take 50% of the proceeds that come off my painting. So I thought, well, heck, I sell about as many just here out of my own gallery as I did in those commercial galleries. So I thought, well, heck, man, I'll just sell them out of my own gallery here. And I've got people who collected my paintings for years and years, 30, 40 years, and some of them has had 6 or 8 of my paintings, and I got some that probably got a dozen or more of my paintings, and that's great. I hate parting from any of my paintings because this is me, this is who I am, and I love looking at them myself. In fact, my studio is just lined with the walls are just lined with paintings that I've done, and you can go to some of these videos, and I've shown my I've shown my studio in my gallery with the paintings hanging around all over the walls, and I just love looking at them myself. It brings me back to all of my paintings are just reflections of me, and it brings me back to times of memory, because these are memories that are logged on a visual canvas, and every time I look at them, it brings back memories of childhood, or memories of someone that I love, or things that I've done, and this is one of them. There's this when I look at this, it takes me back to a time where I was a lot younger, and just enjoyed exploring and going out into nature and looking and watching the beauty of it all. And I still do. I just can't get out and walk around and go like I used to. I got arthritis really bad in my knees, my hands, and I had my hip replaced a few years ago, and surgeries here, surgeries there, and boy, my hands are just they're just stiff and riddled with arthritis. And if you can look here on these videos, you can see them old knuckles and stuff, how swollen they are, and they're painful. And I have to, I've put pain relievers of all kinds. I've tried everything in the world to put on them. And some of it works pretty good. That DMSO works really well. And some other applications that you can get and put on there, they work to a point. They don't eradicate all the pain, but it helps a whole lot. And in fact, I take my dog out for a little walk just about every morning. I can't go real far. Usually walk her half or 3/4 of a mile, and then I have to get back because my knees will start giving out, and it's just not a fun thing when they start hurting like that. And I need to get them replaced, but every time that I've gone under anesthesia, I come out not so good. And one of the last times I went under anesthesia, I came out with a heart fibrillation. And after I did a little study, I found out that like 30% of the people who go under anesthesia, they come out with this AFib thing on their heart. So I need to get these knees replaced, but golly, I'm kind of hesitant to go under the anesthesia. It just kind of frightens me to have to think no telling what'll happen when I come out of there. Because my health is, I'm not in that bad a shape other than that and the arthritis. My blood sugar has a tendency to get a little bit high, so I have to watch what I eat and cut down on my carbs. In fact, the wife and I, we went on a carnivore diet, and about 8 months ago, or at least 8 months ago, and she's lost 70 pounds, and I lost 40 pounds. I went from 220, now I weigh 180, which that is about a normal weight for my age and my height, so I'm not going to lose any more. And she went from 240 pounds to, she weighs 170 right now, and she's still losing weight, and that's just great and good for her. We've been married for 55 years, and been together for 59 years. We dated for 4 years before we got married. And I just love that woman, and she loves me. And every one of my paintings, there'll be two birds, and I just painted them in right up there in among those trees. Every one of my paintings, there'll be two birds in them. One is me, and one is her, and we go everywhere together. So there I am right there working on those two little birds, flying through that forest. Yeah, it's just a fun thing. And that's kind of a signature with all my landscapes, is every landscape I paint, there'll be two birds in there somewhere. Now the painting that I did for that lady named Susan with the seagulls, I didn't paint in two birds because there was already 5 birds in there, so I didn't paint any more. But as a rule, there are 2 birds in every landscape that I paint. So I'm getting down to pretty close to where I'm going to stop. And sometimes when you try to make it better and make it better and make it better, you usually wind up making it worse and worse and worse. So I'm going to quit. I'm going to stop here in just a minute, hang it up, then I'll revisit it here in a few days and see what happens. And I probably won't post it on YouTube because I've already got the video down, and you guys get the idea. And I will make it better. I'll play with it until it suits me. So, hey guys, don't forget about the giveaway. send me some messages if you like what I do, if you like the tutorials and how I apply these acrylic paints. You can just watch and see how I apply them, and once in a while I'll try something new with them, and I'll let you know how it turns out. And it's just a fun thing. Painting is so rewarding and so relaxing, but at times it can be stressful, especially when you can't get it to look like you want it to, and that's kind of where I'm at with this one. It's a little bit frustrating when I can't get this to cooperate. So little dabs here, little dabs there, trying to make it better. And then usually when you do this, what happens is you wind up and you get it too busy and make it worse than what it would be if you just left it alone. And sometimes that's a very hard thing to step away from, is trying too hard to get it to look like what you'd want it to look like, and you can't. It's very frustrating. So anyway, I'm down to the end of it, and here's a photograph of where I'm at, coming up right here in this second. There's the photograph. It's a little less than desirable. I just do this on my cell phone, don't have a decent camera, but anyway, this is where I am. Hey, you guys subscribe, send me and hit the likes button, and send me a message, and get yourself on the list for a giveaway. And you send me a picture of something that you'd want painted, and I'll paint it on for you. All right, love y'all, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.